The Indiana Fever take down the Seattle Storm 89-78. But listen, if that wouldn't have happened, and let's be real here, serious conversations would have needed to have been had. But that is not the most exciting part about the game tonight, because if I'm being totally honest, exciting is not an adjective that I would put in with tonight's game. But Caitlin Clark is now leading the league in assists, and she is number 2 in points. So
the Indiana Fever beat the Seattle Storm 89-78. But the final score is not the real story dominating the WNBA tonight. The real story is what happened before this game even tipped off. Because Caitlin Clark just accomplished something no player in league history has ever done. And for nearly 2 full days, it felt like the WNBA barely wanted anyone talking about it. That is why fans are furious right now. This is bigger than one win, bigger than one stat line, and honestly, bigger than basketball itself. This controversy has now opened conversations about league credibility, media bias, gambling implications, and whether the WNBA truly understands the magnitude of the superstar carrying the sport into a new era.
Seattle Storm. This game, though, was not exactly a fun watch. It was messy, discombobulated, and for all this talk about defense for the Indiana Fever, it just looked bad. I will give them credit, though.
When she throws the pass here, like the hand, actually no, sorry, Douglas, that hand does not hit the ball. You can see, look at the way the ball rotates. There is no tip on this pass. That is just a pass directly to Mo Billings. No assist. Caitlin Clark made history.
Now, before we even get to the Seattle game itself, we need to talk about the moment that completely changed the conversation around Caitlin Clark this week. Because what happened against the Washington Mystics was not just another missed stat correction buried in a box score. Fans believe they watched history happen in real time, only for that history to immediately disappear from the official record. And the reason this exploded across social media is because the evidence was impossible to ignore. On the first play, Clark attacked the defense exactly the way elite point guards are supposed to. She forced multiple defenders to collapse into the lane, kept her eyes up, and fired a perfectly timed pass to Monique Billings in the corner. Billings caught it cleanly and immediately rose into the shot motion. The three-pointer dropped. The crowd reacted. And everyone watching assumed it was another assist added to Clark's historic night. But somehow, the official scorebook erased it. Then came the second play late in the fourth quarter. Clark delivered a quick shovel pass directly into Kelsey Mitchell's shooting pocket. No extra dribble, no isolation move, no reset. Mitchell caught and fired in rhythm, exactly the way the WNBA defines an assist opportunity. The shot fell cleanly through the net. Again, no assist credited to Caitlin Clark. That is where the outrage started turning into suspicion, because these were not borderline judgment calls. These were direct scoring passes that fit the textbook definition of assists. Fans immediately started clipping the footage, slowing it down frame by frame, and posting comparisons online. Within hours, social media was flooded with accusations that Clark's historic performance had been incorrectly documented in real time.
For 10, and of course 100% at the free throw line. Now Kelsey Mitchell was a different story. She was cold from the three. However, she did go 8 for 18 total. She did pass the ball around a little bit. She ended up sealing 2 assists, but there were moments where I did see her pass the ball and her teammate just didn't make it in. KK was a little...
And this is where the controversy became far more serious than a simple statistical mistake. Since Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA, sports betting around the league has exploded. Millions of dollars now move through player prop markets tied directly to Clark's performances. Assist totals, double-doubles, triple-doubles, point combinations. These are no longer meaningless numbers sitting quietly inside a box score. These numbers now impact real money, real bets, and real outcomes for fans investing in the games. So when Clark officially finished with 8 assists instead of 10, it completely changed the outcome of multiple betting lines across sportsbooks. Fans who placed wagers on over 9.5 assists believed they had watched those bets cash in live. Then the official stat sheet said otherwise. 48 hours later, the WNBA corrected the stats and acknowledged the assists should have counted. But by then, the damage was already done. Parlays had already lost. Bets had already been graded. And the league never publicly addressed the gambling side of the controversy. That silence only made the backlash louder.
Rebounds, she was mostly in the garbage minutes. I'm really just glazing over the game because I really want to get into some of the highlights of what happened, and the highlights are definitely not from this game because this game was a bit of a snooze fest. I mean, both teams shot around 25% at three, 46% total. I mean, the Storm shot 35% total, but the Indiana Fever did out-rebound the Seattle Storm. But I mean, go figure, Dominique Malunga is out. Awa Pham has not joined the team yet. I don't necessarily think Steph Dolson is the biggest rebounder of all. Actually, who?
But here is what makes this entire situation impossible for fans to ignore. This is not the first time something like this has happened involving Caitlin Clark. That is the part fueling the conspiracy theories right now. Because once is a mistake, twice starts looking like a pattern. Last season, the WNBA celebrated Caitlin Clark breaking the single-season assist record with an official graphic that reportedly listed the wrong total. Fans caught the mistake almost immediately, forcing another correction from the league. Now fast forward to this season, and once again Clark achieves a historic milestone. Once again the numbers surrounding her performance become controversial, and once again fans have to pressure the league into fixing the record publicly, whether intentional or accidental. The optics are devastating for the WNBA, because the league's fastest growing superstar continues finding herself at the center of the biggest statistical controversies in women's basketball.
Any seconds in the fourth quarter. I think she might have had a few seconds because she was so close to getting a triple-double. She was how many rebounds away? She was 3 rebounds away from getting a triple-double. She had 21 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds. And as it turns out, as reported by Scott Agnes, she asked for the sub. So mystery solved. Because in reality, with Leah Boston out and in the Tresno, like I was so wrong, 7 for 17 at the 3 is a great stat line. But today she did go 2 for 4 and overall 5